Yo, 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 yo. What up, YouTube? We're about to do this damn thing. Shout out to you guys. It is the first day of week one. It is Thursday. I'm excited. Thank you guys for being here. Just got done with a vacation. If I'm a little red or a little tan, went down to Florida, see my daughter play some volleyball. Shout out to her. Some of you guys don't care. Shout out to my daughter. She's undefeated in the volleyball team. She's a starter. She's a beast. I love her to death. And I hung out with my other two kids the next day. I hung out with all three of them the first day. The next day, I hung out with the other two. And then we spent a couple days just Kim and I on the beach, relaxing, chillaxing. But we're here. We're locked in for college football. Got home, already did the podcast for the MVP. Shout out to you guys. There is a live stream posted on Patreon and YouTube. Become a member, become an MVP. You will get the picks. If you didn't know, I'm going to go here and show you guys. Is Patreon up? Yes, it's right here. This is Patreon. Go to Patreon, search RicoKnows. MVPs, their video is here. MVPs only. You can see Cool as Cello here saying LMFG. Let's mother effing go. That man is screaming and yelling. That thing was posted about an hour ago. It's an hour long. Go watch it. It's about tonight's games. It's going to be this version. We're doing the live stream tonight, going over Thursday's games, but that one is the actual MVP plays. That one's the in-depth analysis and everything. People always talk about the chart. There's the charts. One is for spreads and one is for prop bets. We have one for prop bets that you can apply to prize picks and all that other stuff, and one for spreads. We have everything in here. By the way, you can't see it unless you're an MVP. That's why it's locked. Got to become an MVP. Yes, we've had, I want to say, over 300 MVPs sign up in the last week. That's pretty normal for college football season. We have thousands of you guys all over the different platforms. Thank you for trusting me. Thank you for believing in me. I'm going to do the best I can. Remember, last season, over 400 games against the spread. We were at 60%. So we didn't count prop bets. We didn't keep track of them. This season, we'll get after it. We will make sure we keep track of the prop bets along with all of the other spreads, the picks, the parlays, the props. It's what we do. Shout out to me. Shout out to you. I appreciate you guys. You see that 4 notifications? That's at least X amount of people. We don't know. You want to click on it? You want to see what happens if I click on this? We can do this in live time. I don't know what's going to come up. What's it going to say? 34 people just became free members in the last 8 minutes. T-South and 34 more others became free members. No problem there. Evan Oldsmith and 70 others have become paid members in the last 11 minutes now. And we have one canceled. Shout out to Ben Barnes for leaving us. It is what it is. We lose one, we gain 70. 71. That's math. Rico, you got canceled. I didn't get canceled. Everybody used to be here. Nope, they left and went to Patreon and YouTube. Shout out to my people. You guys made it happen. Thank you so much for being an MVP. Now, we're going to talk about tonight's games, but before we get into them, we're going to talk about the news and what happened here. If you were paying attention, Anthony Colandrea became the week 1 starting quarterback. Remember, he was competing with Tony Muskett last year, ended up beating him out because Muskett was inconsistent. And then Colandrea is the quarterback now. He's a gunslinger, man. He can run a little bit. You should be excited for him. I think he gives them the best chance to win. So shout out to Tony Elliott for picking Colandrea. He's a gamer. You're going to enjoy watching him play. Forrest Brock is the starter. Shout out to him. This was one of the lowest ranked players coming out of high school, was barely in the top 250, and here he is, one of the starting quarterbacks for an FBS program. Shout out to recruiting websites for missing all over the place. Remember the last podcast I had? The last podcast I had, I told you guys Ben Woolridge should be the starter for Lafayette. And if you go to, for Louisiana, if you go, the Raging Cajun, if you go to the depth chart on our lads, it says Chandler Fields here. I told you, no. The starter's Ben Woolridge. It should be Ben Woolridge. That's the guy. When I do my evaluation of talent and players, he seems like the starter. And he is. Shout out to me. I got it right again. Congratulations, Rico. Apparently you know the roster's better than our lads. Yes, I do. That's why I get paid the big bucks. Shout out to TJ Finley. It says he will start first in the opener, meaning they intend to play multiple quarterbacks. I think TJ Finley gives them the best chance to win. Roderick Robinson, the best running back in that room, underwent surgery, likely to miss the opener. Unfortunately, I still like Roderick Robinson out of Lincoln, San Diego, the best running back in Georgia's running back room. I think he's a pro. Chris Hilton, questionable for the opener. Doesn't matter. Dude can't catch. Shout out to him. Jam Miller, expected to play in the opener. Congratulations. Green, listed as a co-starter. Sherrod, we knew this guy's nearly a 1,000-yard rusher, listed as the starting running back, kickoff returner on the depth chart. Expected. No big deal there. This is concerning. T-Mac will play week 1. That doesn't say much. He will play week 1. Okay, well, how many yards is he going to get? Because some people are on his actual season total, and they probably bet it on Prize Picks and some other places. If you're watching this show, by the way, if you're watching this show on TikTok, you got to just move over to YouTube. Put your comment in, and I'll respond to you. Your question, I will get to you. If you're watching on the Discord server, MVPs, you can't see me on the screen because it's on my what is it called? OBS. It's on my OBS, so you can't see it. If you want to interact with me, MVPs, please move over to YouTube and drop it in the chat. I will reply to you. Please don't talk about any MVP level plays. Thank you. LJ Martin ready to go. That's the starting running back for BYU. No big deal there. Giovanni McCoy, and this is the first one where I get excited, y'all. Before I get into the chat and answer all your questions, Giovanni McCoy has been named the starter at Oregon State, and I want to show you guys something. If you look up here, and I have a couple of TikTok videos saved. Now, this year I decided not to go the TikTok route. Okay, I actually did my hidden gems list on YouTube. But Giovanni McCoy, I actually didn't save it. I think I saved it in another tab over here. But Giovanni McCoy is a guy I talked about last year when I gave you guys my predictions on FCS teams to beat FBS level teams. I gave 3 of them at the beginning of last year. I got 2 out of the 3 right, 66%. I told you that FAMU had a chance to beat South Florida. This was before we knew Byron Brown was an amazing quarterback. I told you FAMU has a shot, but I wasn't really sold on it. It just felt like a lean, if you will. But my 2 locks, of all locks, was Southern Illinois beating Northern Illinois. They did that. Shout out to the Salukis. Okay? Salukis were going to win. And then the other one was Idaho is beating Nevada, and they won huge. I got it right. They won like 30-6 or something. And it was all because I believed in Giovanni McCoy. I told you his 27 touchdowns and 7 interceptions at the FCS level as a redshirt freshman was so good, I didn't think he belonged at the FCS level. If you want to see the video, go to TikTok, search RicoKnows space Idaho, because that's where he used to play, Idaho. And I tell you, Giovanni McCoy should be playing at the FBS level. Here we are a year later, and he's a starter at the FBS. A starter at the FBS. Congratulations. Raleek Brown, doubtful for week 1. That's not news. If you've been watching all the pictures, all the media on Arizona State, they even had like a group photo for all the running backs. Everybody was in gear except for Raleek Brown. Think he's been trying to recover from some type of injury. That's a problem. It's unfortunate. The one thing Arizona State has, though, is a lot of running backs. So the running back room is deep. It's not a big deal. Parker Awad, a JUCO player. He's now the starter. I'm not impressed by this. I want to say Awad's a transfer from... No, I'm thinking of the other kid, UCF, but that's another kid. Oh, who? That's a Matt kid. Either way, Parker Awad, I went and watched tape on him. I wasn't impressed. I did tape study on New Mexico State's entire roster. Wasn't impressed. So there you go. Jacksonville State, Ron Wiggins, man. He comes back and he undergoes surgery. He's out at least 10 weeks. This is good news. This is good news for me in my Hidden Gems playlist. Remember, I pointed out so many hidden gems that are now starters. We'll get to it. And I have a hidden gem running back at Jacksonville State, true freshman who just came in. And I want you guys to go watch the video. It's on YouTube. If you check the Hidden Gems playlist on YouTube, you will see Jackson State. But they have a very deep running back room. They're like 3 deep. Andrew Paul just transferred in from Georgia, and they have others that are really good. Kevin Green out several weeks. This is the number 3 wide receiver from Arizona, transferring up to Washington late, and now he's out several weeks. That's unfortunate. He's going over there to help his coaching staff, to help that receiving core. He's a starting caliber wide receiver. That's unfortunate. Cole Snyder, starter. Expected it, right? EMU didn't have a quarterback, and now Buffalo doesn't have one either, but Cole Snyder's good, so he's here now. Kamari Moulton was listed as a starter for Iowa. Probably shocker for some people. Gary Bryant could be available Saturday. He's the 3rd wide receiver at Oregon. He's pretty good. Rashad DeBingen, been at Arkansas a long time, a little smaller back. His running backs coach just left, went to TCU. That's also his former high school coach, or at least a coach that used to coach at his old high school, because this is a product from Georgia. Okay, so you go all the way to Arkansas. We've been relying on you. It looks like he's RB3. Rashad DeBingen is not a bad player. It's unfortunate. Dakarian Clark, or JT Clark, not listed on the depth chart. Eddie Lee Marburger is listed as a co-starter with Owen McCown. UTSA doesn't have a quarterback. That's all that means. Okay. Gavin Garcia, I told you guys this in the last podcast. I had inside information on Kent State. One of the players reached out to me to let me know Gavin tore up his knee at practice, and he's done for the season. He was listed as the number 2 running back, but he was going to be used a lot, and he is a receiving back out of the backfield. It's unfortunate. Kent State can't afford to have injuries like this. Nick Evers named the starter. Former 4-star out of Oklahoma, went to Wisconsin, couldn't see the field. I told you he couldn't. Told you couldn't play at Wisconsin. But when he got to UConn, I said, oh, he'll be the starter. And here he is. He's the starter. Congratulations. Hopefully, he's not overwhelmed in his first start against Maryland, but it looks like a tough one. Bryson Davis, I don't know much about Davis Bryson, I'm sorry. I don't know much about him. He's going to start for Kennesaw State. Going to go watch film before the game and see what I can learn. Don't know much about him. Transfers to Nebraska. Another tight end leaves LSU. We've seen tight ends in the last couple years leave LSU. The LSU tight end room has some really talented players. And if you can't get on the field, you leave. So now you have one leaving to Nebraska. Congratulations. I'll study that move a little more. I don't worry about players entering the transfer portal at this point of the year. They can't play. They just go sit. But we'll see what happens. If he can play because he was in the portal earlier, then more power to him. But this move doesn't really move me. Congratulations. Jordan McLeod named the starter. Never really in doubt. RJ Martinez was competing with him. RJ Martinez, the BYU NAU transfer, who I was really pulling for, but we understand. Jordan McLeod has been everywhere. He's learned a ton of different offenses, and G.J. Kinney can probably work magic with him. This is a 3,400-yard passer. It's not like a dude that should be worried about his starting job. He should be the starter until he's injured. Right? So let's see if he can hand the ball off to Ishmael Mahdi, and we don't have to worry about anything. This is weird. They repeated it twice. No big deal. That's fine. Sam Houston, Jay Ducker. Jay Ducker, transfer running back from... Is he from Memphis? Originally from Memphis, went to MTSU, and now he's here. Jay Ducker, I used to like him when he was at Memphis, and he's good to go for the season opener at Sam Houston. I think Sam Houston got a sneaky good running back that people don't understand. So if you see a rushing prop for Jay Ducker at any point this year, keep an eye on him and see if he's worth betting on. I think he's a good player. Jordan James returns to practice. Quan Powell, not on the Week 1 depth chart. We'll talk about who else is not on the Week 1 depth chart. Trey Cooley listed on the depth chart for Saturday. Sounds good. Lincoln Pear, they tell me he's a backup on Week 1, but I don't know what kind of backup because they got 3 deep at running back. They got 4 deep at running back at Texas State. So to see him there, is he the second string guy or did he get passed up? They're actually 5 deep. They're 5 deep. I just thought about that. They got Jenkins from Washington State, Hankins from UTEP, and Bursey, right? Burrows. What's his name? Bussey. No. He's the other kid from UTEP. They got a lot of guys listed on the Week 1 depth chart. He's a backup. So Drew Donnelly, let me tell you guys about Drew Donnelly. He was at Cincinnati for a couple years, maybe 2 years. This is a speed demon. White dude, blonde hair. Looks like the California dude on Remember the Titans. Drew Donnelly is so fast. I don't know how you keep him off the field. Like, that dude is breakaway speed. Waiting to have. He's a 10, 400-meter guy. Stupid fast. 6'2", 180, and they got him as backup. Something's going on. Drew Donnelly can play. Get him the ball. Tell me Nick Anderson's out. I had some MVPs reach out to me about this. I don't care. Nick Anderson's out. So what? They're playing Temple, and Oklahoma has a ton of wide receivers. Doesn't really matter to me. And look at Andrew Anthony's available. Good luck to the former Michigan Wolverine transfer. Hakeem Williams. Hopeful for the home opener. Congratulations. They need all the help they can get. Andrew Armstrong, uncertain for Thursday. Okay. Chuba Purdy expected to be available Week 2. Who cares? And Ian Stewart out for the season. Unfortunate. Montrell Johnson, good to go. Dorian Clark out for Saturday. That's what I meant to say. Dorian Clark earlier. I said it. DeCorian Clark out for Saturday. Okay. And the surprise, Tulane quarterback Darian Mensah will start Thursday. What? I was on, we knew there was going to be a quarterback battle. It was not between Darian Mensah. At no point did I have him in the battle. He was third string. That one's a little crazy. And then we get to the good stuff. Eli Holstein named starter for Saturday. What's up, baby? What's up? My name is RicoKnows. I'll be here all day. Let me tell you guys something about Eli Holstein. Last year, they were talking about Walker Howard transferring from LSU to Ole Miss, and they were talking about quarterback battles and all this other stuff. And I told everybody, I don't believe in this guy Lonergan who just signed with Alabama. And I didn't believe in Dylan Lonergan, because I watched him play all high school at Brookwood. I watched his entire high school career, and he was very lackluster. He wasn't great to me. But when I turned on the tape, Eli Holstein looked special. I thought he looked good. And I talked about this last offseason, and here we are a year later, and he's now a starter at a Power 4 school. You guys have to watch my Hidden Gems playlist. You have to. I'm getting it right 100 times out of 100. If you do a search for RicoKnows Eli, the second video I made of him will come up. But I actually did a breakdown of his high school film and told you his huddle tape's amazing. Eli Holstein, and he's now the starter. By the way, Desmond Reed will lead the backfield for week 1 at Pittsburgh. I talked about Desmond Reed. If we go up here and you guys look, there's Desmond Reed, my hidden gem. I did a whole video on him. Let's see what I had to say about him. And this was back in, who knows when. This was back in January 2nd. Let's see what I had to say about this man. Now he's the starter at Pitt. January 2nd.
Here. I woke up this morning, and the first thing I do every morning is I do research on football players in the transfer portal. Today I'm going to work on my podcast and episode number 2 for running backs in the transfer portal. So last episode I talked about a bunch of running backs, and one man I touched on but didn't really go into detail was this running back right here. His name is Desmond Reed, and he's transferring from Western Carolina to Pitt University. It's got to be Pitt tough. Now, in the first episode, I looked up his stats real quick. I saw that he had back-to-back 800-yard seasons at Western Carolina, and he did this in about 100 carries. So his yards per carry average was insane. And then I saw he had offers from Coastal Carolina and Pitt. But now that he's committed to Pitt, I decided I'm going to go turn on the tape and see what this kid looks like. And you guys, I think he's amazing. He reminds me of Bucky Irving out at Oregon right now, but this kid's got more juice. I think Pitt found one hell of a running back, and I want to show you the tape. Remember, I do a podcast where I talk about every single running back in the transfer portal. I'll be talking about 42 of them today. So if you want to see a breakdown and analysis on every single signing and commitment from the transfer portal, go to YouTube, search RicoKnows, find the podcast. It's on the live tab. But now let me show you the tape of this young man.
And unfortunately, I can't show you the tape with the volume up because I had music playing and I don't want any copyright violations. But what you're going to see is this little back from Florida who's just so fast, it's unreal. He's just a bad little dude. And I thought he was special. I get it. He's tiny. They gave him no stars, 3 stars, whatever it was. Had to go the FCS route. But he's slippery, man. He's quick. He makes people miss. Reminds me so much of Darren Sproles without being as chunky. But the low center of gravity, the cuts, it's beautiful. I love what he does. It's Desmond Reed, Western Carolina. Also a big part of why I don't believe in Western Carolina tonight is because they don't have Des Reed anymore. Right? So this man is just beast. Loved his tape. Made the prediction. I told you he was special. And now he's the starter at Pitt. And you're going to have a problem trying to tackle that little dude. I bet he made people look silly at practice every day at Pitt. When they got him, they just said, whoa. He doesn't have the greatest top end speed, but his acceleration is next level. His stop and go is real. The cuts remind me of Tank Dell. Just what a beast. Deuce Vaughn. Deuce Vaughn not as strong. That's this little Desmond Reed right here. So shout out to him and shout out to me for getting it right. And that's what I'm trying to tell you guys is I go out and I just make predictions and I talk about it. Here's a hidden gem I have, Rasul Faison. He's now the starting running back at Utah State. When I made this video, he was third string, a 2-star guy. And I said, no, this is the best one I see on the roster. Yeah, that's real. Another one we'll get to was Ishmael Mahdi. The best running back no one's talking about, Ishmael Mahdi. I talked about him all year last year. Rushed for 1,300 yards. I talked about Lenora Sellers before everybody else. This is real. And obviously, here he is right here. Darius Taylor playing tonight, if he's healthy, for Minnesota. And we keep going. But I've been talking about all these guys. It's just one of those things where you need to pay attention to the Hidden Gems playlist on YouTube because you're going to see future starters for years to come. By the way, I have no earthly idea who Emmett Brown is. I'm just going to let you guys know. I had no idea Emmett Brown was going to be the starter for San Jose State on Thursday. What this is, I'm still... I'm not even believing in them like that, but I have no idea who he is. And if I tell you I don't know who the guy is, that's a little frightening. I'm just keeping it real. Just keeping it real. So depth charts got released. I'm going to get to the chat here in a second before I go over all the games. Depth charts got released, and I wanted to pull up one depth chart. Obviously, it's Florida. And I made a video about this. Florida released their depth chart, and the first thing you want to do is go to corners, and you look, and you see no Cormani McClain. No 5-star walk-on Cormani McClain. It's because he doesn't have walk-on work ethic. It's because he's not very good. I told you that Jameer Grimsley, in a previous episode I talked to you guys about it, I said Jameer Grimsley's probably better. This is the Alabama transfer, 6'2", 205. Felt like a better physical fit, just as long and lengthy as the rest. Was just very good. And he never played at Alabama. Enrolled there, Saban left, so he decided to leave, and now he's here at Florida. I said, oh, that kid's probably better than this other headache. And Cormani McClain's just not here. I went off on a long tangent about it. I won't rehash. But the reality is Cormani McClain does not respect authority, does not have the work ethic to be great, and doesn't have any male mentors. Just period. It's just the way it is. So if you don't value your coach's input, you don't value the standards they put before you, and you don't have the work ethic to try to achieve something, you're just going to be a failure in life. That's life, man. I've seen it a million times. Literally 1,000 times. I shouldn't say a million. I've seen it 1,000 times. I've seen it in real life, in every walk of life, and we're seeing it now in 4K in college football. So not even on the depth chart. At best, he's cornerback 7. There's 6 other cornerbacks ahead of him, and I think he's behind some others. It just doesn't move me like that. Never thought it did. And I know. I was right from the jump. I've been right the whole time. I've never gotten off that train. And people can tell me, the coaches said he's acclimating well. Rico, you don't know what you're talking about. He's got the talent. How dare you? No. I watch talent. I evaluate talent all day, every day. And when I get to his tape, it's not there. And I told you guys this 3 years ago? 2 years? At least 2 years ago. Remember the clip I showed where Mikey Matthews was roasting him at practice? At the All-American game? And I said, oh, we got a 3-star just roasting this guy. This guy has no recovery speed, no fundamentals. I see nothing. Whoever evaluated him and gave him 5 stars should be fired. Should not have a job. By the way, I saw a lot of 3 stars today on tape. I saw a lot of 3 stars today on tape in evaluation. I was looking at Boise. They have a running back, true freshman running back. Whoever gave him 3 stars should be fired. The kid from Paris. Oh, my God. He'll be in the 2 deep. I think he might be better than Breezy. Dubar, the backup. Yep. So before I get into the games, I'm going to go to the chat. I'm going to take your guys' questions, comments, concerns, and then I'm going to start talking about every single matchup for tonight. But I want to go to the chat and see what's going on. Shout out to all the MVPs. If you're watching on the Discord server, move over to YouTube. Put a question or comment in. I got you. Shout out to TikTok if you're watching. Move over to YouTube. Put a question or comment in. I got you. But I won't answer on YouTube. I won't even read the chat on TikTok. I'm sorry, I won't answer on the Discord or down there. By the way, if you're an MVP trying to connect to the server, I keep seeing these guys do tests. They just keep failing. This guy, look at this guy right here. He just joined the server. His name is Jeremy, and he says, where do I see MVP picks? You are not doing this correctly. You're not green and not validated as an MVP. If you're not watching the videos, you will lose your money. Done. That's how I handle MVPs who show up and say, where are the picks? We don't like you guys. All you where are the picks guys, you don't know what the fuck you're doing with your money. You're going to lose your money by yourself anyways. Nonetheless, Divine Obsidian says, hey Rico, what's going wrong with Justin Flo and your thoughts on how scouts miss so bad every year? Well, I like Justin Flo. I think he's doing well. Nothing's really going wrong. Once again, a recruiting website will tell the world a young man is a 5-star. That's what they do, right? Let me move to the chat. Let me pull it up in the window here. I'm sorry. Let's go back up. Let me interact with this. Interact. So you have recruiting websites. They will interact. By the way, we just got a new MVP. Shout out to him. Marco Luquin. He's got a blue badge, so he's been an MVP before. Congratulations, man. You just became an MVP. Please, go do your thing. Can you turn me green here too? No, I cannot turn you green in here unless you're an MVP on YouTube. You can't be green in this chat, only on the Discord server. Please connect your YouTube account to the Discord server. Connect your Patreon to the Discord server. There's steps on how to do this. There's videos on how to do this. It's on the page. Once you connect the accounts, you will get all the access to everything. You can also see it on the server, but you know, it is what it is. Hey, Rico, what's going on? Yeah, with Justin Flo. So like what I wanted to say to you guys, when you see players like this who are, and I want to make sure you guys can see what I'm reading on the screen. You can. Okay. Players get anointed. Players get 5 stars, 3 stars, 4 stars, whatever it is. And for the rest of their career, if they don't live up to that label or that evaluation, then they're considered busts. Like Justin Flo right now. You're saying what's wrong with him, and I'm saying nothing's wrong with him. He's a good player who's fighting for playing time and a starter in the FBS level, at Power 4 level. What are we doing? What do you have last year? How many tackles? Somebody look it up. 50? Like, I don't understand why you're being labeled a bust because a website said you would be a first-round draft pick and you turn out to just be a starter in college. The bust here is the guy who evaluated you incorrectly. The evaluator is the bust. How do scouts miss so bad every year? Divine Obsidian, the reality is scouts are not the same every year. It'd be one thing if it was the same guy missing over and over and over, but no, there's turnover in that job. There's turnover in every job. They miss because they're new to the job. They miss because they're not good at their job. They're just trying to appease somebody else instead of trying to find ground truth or at least be accurate. The reason why I'm more accurate than the scouts in my talent evaluation, in my talent assessment of high school film reviews, or even why am I more accurate than a positions coach and he's not starting the right players or he's not evaluating the right talent and he offered a scholarship to somebody he shouldn't have? Well, that positions coach probably been doing it for 3 or 4 years. Probably just got hired. First time ever doing it. And I've been doing this for 20 years plus. So when you see a guy in the NFL get drafted by a team, don't assume that team knows any more than you. Unless you didn't do any research and you're just a fan. But I'd be sitting here doing research, calling teammates, reaching out to teammates, reaching out to the player, asking them questions. Trying to find out if they love the game or not. That is essential. But you can never, ever think, like for me, I go through the process and I just go, man, these NFL scouts don't know more than me. Like I don't even think the way people go, oh, Rico, you think you know more than the pros? Yeah, bro, those guys are unemployed next year. The guys you think are pros do this shit for like 2 or 3 years and they're gone. It's a flash in the pan. That's the reality. They're moving up, upward movement. I met a scout a month ago. I met him a month ago, and I listened to him talk, and I went, okay, he's doing his job. And then I went and saw the people that he selected at the NFL draft, and I thought, everything you told me that you do, I don't know if that applies. It doesn't look good. It's just the reality of the job, man. These guys are going to get fired. And I'm not getting fired. So I just get better and better and better at it. It's the reality of the situation. This is my first time being an MVP. What up, Kairos MMA? You weren't lying saying those lines move fast after you make your picks. Next time I'm going to screenshot them. So what Kairos is talking about is I'll make a video for the MVPs on Monday. And I will tell you, hey guys, this line's going to move after I make this video. Like the line will be 9.5, and I go, hey, this line's going to move to 10.5 in about an hour. Or this prop bet's going to move 4 yards this way. And the way I know this is I've been doing this a while, and I already know that if I tell you to bet on an obscure group of 5 game, and I have over 1,000 MVPs making that same bet, let's say 1,000 MVPs put $100 on that prop bet. All Vegas sees is $100,000 on a specific prop bet. They got to move the line. So we move the line that way. You're not going to move the line on Colorado versus North Dakota State or Georgia versus Clemson. But if I tell you take this rushing prop in Lafayette versus Buffalo and 1,000 of you take it at $100 each, that's $100,000 on a prop bet that would never happen. We move the books, and we are almost this sure somebody from Vegas and in a lot of these sports books is on the platform, is one of the MVPs. They get the information as soon as I post it, and they go and adjust accordingly. We're almost sure of it because it happens way too often. It's too convenient. I'll make a video. I'll tell you guys what's going to happen, what to bet on, and anybody who misses on that bet, if you don't get it done in time, it's already moved. And they do it all the damn time. Everything's flipped. And I don't want to go over all the MVP plays, but they flip them by the end of the week. Like, it's just what they do. Good luck, Kairos. Connor Formia says, man, Rico, you're the GOAT. Thank you so much, Connor. I watched all of your college football content this offseason, and it feels like I know at least one unique, notable fact about every FBS team. Yeah, man, it's great. It's awesome when you watch TV and you know every team and every player. It's awesome. You can watch any game and get excited about it. That's the nature of being an MVP. We get excited about a UTEP versus Jacksonville State. That shit's a fucking showdown because we know every player. My guy, Rico, what up, Jimmy F? Let's run it up again this season. Been waiting for football season. Thank you so much, man. I've been running it up all offseason, too. Shout out to the UFC. We've been dominating. I'm telling you that right now. But, yes, we're excited about this football season. I feel ready. It will take a couple of weeks to get the ball rolling, and then we will be unstoppable. Plan to dominate the entire bowl season. Watch. Last season, bowl season, 66% against the spread. 66%. Yeah, it's going to feel good. I was watching your other streams and have been wondering why you have Virginia Tech's offensive line as a 9. I hope you're right. I just didn't see it last year. Well, I didn't evaluate it as a 9 last year. Touchable Otter. I did not evaluate Virginia Tech's offensive line as a 9 last year. I did this year. So let's wait to see it. FIU over Indiana. Brody Benitez, I don't know what you're asking me. I don't know what you're saying. Are you asking if FIU's beating Indiana? If that's a question, you need to become an MVP. Thoughts on Eli Holstein starting for Pitt and Deshaun Pace for UCF. So, Divine Obsidian, I already talked about Eli Holstein. I think it's an amazing thing. Congratulations to him. And as far as Deshaun Pace goes, congratulations. That's about it. Like, I don't get too caught up in players winning starting jobs unless I think it impacts the win-loss total. And Deshaun Pace doesn't impact the win-loss total for me. But Eli Holstein could potentially put Pitt to win less games than anticipated. Only because it's going to be some growing pains. It's going to be some growing pains. I can't wait to see Tony White's and John Butler's D at Nebraska. Shout out to Mike. If you guys don't know who Mike is a Nebraska homer. John was a great hire from the Bills this offseason. Yeah, I don't think too many NFL coaches are great hires at the collegiate level. I don't get excited about it. In my years of studying college football, NFL hires tend not to succeed. NFL hires are too complicated. They don't evaluate talent well. That's a part of the job, right? So they get hired, and then they're supposed to evaluate the talent of like incoming high school players, and they don't even know which ones to pick because they're not really well versed at that. What they're experts at is scheme versus scheme, redoing the scheme every week to beat another team. That NFL pedigree does not pay dividends at the collegiate level. Number one, it's a little too complicated, and the players can't be an extension of you as a coach on the field. No players can duplicate what you're doing. Hopefully with the helmet communication they have a chance, but I don't ever see it, and I've never seen it. I've seen pro coaches come down, make it too complicated. The players don't react as fast. They're thinking too much. There's too many variables going on. Not enough just line up, meat and potatoes, and make it happen. You just don't see it that way. That's why a lot of NFL guys coming down, they become defensive analysts. They become offensive analysts. They keep them in the booth somewhere and let them just look at tape all day, and we don't really want them engaging with the players. Another thing, the NFL guys tend not to teach fundamentals. They inherit professionals at the NFL level, and they don't teach all the fundamentals like you would envision. They don't have to. Like, those guys should be able to do those things, or else they're gone. Right? If you're not good enough to do certain things, you're gone in the NFL. In college, it's not that way. They need to teach them work ethic. They need to teach them how to lift weights or how to get bigger, stronger, faster. They need to teach them the right tackling angles and tackling drills. They teach so much that a lot of the NFL guys show up and they're like, man, I just wanted to teach my scheme. I just wanted to teach my scheme and teach them how hard, this, that, or the other. And we're going to change the verbiage this week. And we're going to change our signals and signs this week because that's what you do in the NFL. You hit reset every week. And you can go so complicated because you're dealing with professionals who've been doing it for multiple years. In college, it doesn't work that way. And it does, and it reflects. Like, we see certain NFL coaches. I guess the biggest one would be Hafley. Look at Hafley, who just left Boston College, former head coach. He's now a defensive coordinator for the Packers. Like, they know how good he is. They know what he can do. He was doing that before he got over there. So he's an NFL guy, gets hired to go to Boston College, and then he gets there, and they're like, man, he really evaluates DBs really well. He really teaches the secondary well. But they can't go out on the field and duplicate shit that he's teaching. They can't do anything he's doing. It's impossible. He's too complicated. And that's why NFL coaches don't really translate for me. You need to find people who are really good at college. Really good at college. But that's why I'll be paying attention to Boston College this year. We'll see what Bill O'Brien does. I'm not very high on Boston College this year. So if he can make them great, more power to him. If he can get 6 wins out of them, I would be utterly shocked. Shocked. Good to see you degenerates back. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate everybody. My dog is mad. She's barking. Let me keep going down the chat here. Saw Coastal Carolina DB Keontae Jenkins on campus. Word. Didn't take the trip. Usually plays a decent amount. There you go, Zach Caps. Thanks for the heads up, man. I appreciate you. Green. You can't become green here. I can't turn you green here. Kyle Monongai. Is he the real deal? You know, the websites will tell you who he is. On tape, I'm not all that impressed. I'm not screaming he's an NFL back. I'm not screaming. Everybody wants to say he's the next Isaiah Pacheco. They want to get it right? They want to get it right and say Monongai's this guy. PFF has high grades for him and all this. When I watch him, I ask a couple of questions when I see a star running back. Number one, I say, did he get the most out of that carry? Or did he get the most yards out of that carry? Did he do anything extra? Did he finish his run? Does he have good lean, right? Running behind your shoulder pads means you have a forward lean at the point of contact. I'm not all that impressed with Kyle Monongai. I get it. He's putting up some numbers. But there's a lot of other dynamic running backs that I'm excited about over him, for sure. I'm sure he's good. And I'm sure they believe in him, and they're going to tell me he's an NFL running back. I mean, I'll keep watching. I don't make up my mind until, just before the draft, so I'll keep watching. But for me, I don't know what you mean by real deal. He's the real starting running back for Rutgers. And that's a deal. Okay. Sko Buffs. Congratulations, Viral Authority. You are unique in your Sko Buffs call. So excited for the games today. Let's go, Rico. Shout out to you, K-Sadie. I'm very, very excited. 3 hours. Fresno State, baby. So, yes, I am doing a live stream tonight, a watch party for the Colorado game, but I'm actually starting at 7. I know the game's at 8. I'm starting at 7 because we're going to start watching the early games first. Yo, can we get a story from your childhood? E-Money. I was going to do a story about Mr. Mitchell, bro. I just talked to Kim about Mr. Mitchell in the car. A story about my childhood. My goodness. I don't want to talk about a fight. I don't want to talk about anything ridiculous. I'll tell you guys one. I'll tell you when I learned that we were hood. I'll tell you when I learned we were a little too hood. We were the only vacation we ever did as kids. We were about 6 or 7 years old. We didn't have a lot of money, and we didn't have a lot of free time. We didn't have a lot of, we never went camping. Not with my father. We lived 2 hours from the beach, never saw the beach. You didn't travel. You didn't go nowhere. You just lived on your block. You lived in your area. Pops was done working all week. You just stayed home. Watched a lot of sports. And one summer, we were going to go to the San Diego Zoo and SeaWorld on the same vacation. It was all of us kids. And my father had a boss. And his boss had a son. His son's name was Jacob. And Jacob was about our age. And his son is obviously, it's the boss. It's my dad's boss. So his son says, hey, can I go with you guys to SeaWorld and to the zoo? And we're like, word, you could go with us, man. You could go with us. So he climbs in the car with us, and we're all going. And apparently the parents had planned it, like he was going to go with us. And we were going to spend the night. So we were doing the zoo one day, SeaWorld the next day. So we go to the zoo, have a good time. And we got to spend the night in a hotel. And back then, they used to ask, how many occupants do you have in the room? And you got charged more per occupant. So we all knew the deal. We had never stayed in a hotel before, but my father had already told us, hey, we're going to sneak in to this hotel. So he goes up to the front counter and he says, oh, we only have 2 adults, him and his wife, no kids. And sure enough, Pops comes back. I think the hotel might have had hourly rates. I'm not even joking. It was a really hood motel type of place. And the door's on the outside, like facing the outside. There's no hallways, no Holiday Inn Express type shit. It was like I don't know, the Shanty Inn or some shit. So anyways, we're in the car. We're little kids. And Pops comes out to the car. and we start sneaking into the hotel. Sneaking in like one at a time, under a blanket, running to the door, sneaking into the room. And we're sneaking all the kids in. And here we have this rich kid with us. The boss's son has no idea what we're doing. He's loud. He doesn't stay quiet. He doesn't know how to sneak in. He's tripping, bro. He's too loud. It's crazy. And we're like, bro, shut up. We got to keep it low. Get under the blanket and get into this room. And we hide out for the night. Everybody stays quiet, try not to move, try not to get caught. And we end up going to the zoo and SeaWorld the next day. And the next thing you know is we take him home, and within 5 minutes, he's already told his dad that we illegally snuck into a hotel. And his dad's looking at us like, what the hell just happened? His dad doesn't know that we come from this life. That we carry ourselves this way. So that's one story. I want to do another one for you, E-Money. You'll like this one. I've always been a football player. I've always been a wrestler. Always been a track star. All this stuff. I could play basketball. I could dribble, but I'm not a great shooter. I could drive to the bucket. I'm that guy. Just an athletic kid who can play defense like you wouldn't believe. I don't look out of place on a basketball court because I can dribble. But we were playing basketball, and E-Money knows this one. We were in the 4th grade playing on a basketball team. We might have been the second best basketball team in the area in this league. And this other league, they had good players. And they had this one kid, his name was Zach, and Zach was over 6 feet tall in the 4th grade. He was enormous, and we didn't know how to deal with him. So we lost to this guy, this team. And here we're going to play them again in the playoffs, and we don't want to lose to them again. So I have a best friend who lives across the street. By the way, my dad's our basketball coach. And we have a best friend who lives across the street. And we tell him, he's in the 6th grade, mind you. And we say, hey, you play for our 4th grade team. And we moved him on our 4th grade team. He's in the 6th grade. He's tall enough to compete, tall enough to play, and he's good at basketball. And we sneak him into the game. We get him a jersey. We're cheating, dude. We're Danny Almonte in this thing, right? And the other team, they protest before the game even starts. And they're like, hey, that kid over there, he hasn't been on that team all season. They're cheating. They just found that kid. He's not supposed to be on this team. And the referee looks over at him and goes, no, he's been on that team for at least 6 games. I've seen him. I've been roughing these games. Oh, I've seen that kid on the team. They looked at him and said, 6 games? We played these guys 6 games ago. He wasn't on the team. Nonetheless, they let him play. We still lost. We still got caught cheating. The guy they put on that team, the 6th grader they put on that team, is E-Money in the chat. That's E-Money in the chat. Shout out to him. Shout out to you, E-Money. That's a true story. We still lost, which is crazy. But we did cheat. And that referee who cheated and allowed you to play with us turned out to be my first football coach. 4 years later? 3 years later? Turned out to be my first football coach. R.I.P. I think he's dead. Shout out to him. Anyways, enough of that tangent. Shout out to you, E-Money. I appreciate you for being here, bro. The freshman at Tulane must be legit. Yeah, Forrest Weber. We're going to find out. We're going to find out, bro. We are going to find out. It's Jayhawks opening day. Rico, let's go. Let's have another great season. Shout out to you, James Madden. Thank you so much. I believe in you guys, man. I hope everybody has a great season. I hope we don't struggle at all. I hope you get the most out of it. LOL, the last 3 Natty winners have hired senior defensive coaches straight from the NFL. Rico doesn't know shit about shit. Well, Sam Johnson, thanks for being here. I don't think you have a clue what you're doing because you might be in the wrong channel. But we won't see you anymore. But thanks for watching. You can watch from the dark. That's okay. You can watch from the dark. LOL, Rico doesn't know. You know, if I ever saw somebody who didn't know anything, I just keep it moving, bro. I see ugly women every day. I don't tell them they're ugly. I just keep it moving. I'm just saying. Hey, I'm going to tell you something, Sam Johnson. Dogs don't bark at parked cars. So I must have some movement, bro. I must be moving because you're barking at me. I'm not a parked car. That's why Colorado's claim of 100 years of NFL experience doesn't mean ish. That's correct. I don't think it matters at all. What matters is the players, right? What matters is the players and the development of the players. Let's get this money, Rico. Shout out to you, Slim Fishing. Shout out to you. Why does Monangai look so weird when he runs? I have no clue, bro. It doesn't look stereotypical. Doesn't look like everybody else. Could be a good thing. Usually it's not. Could be a good thing. You mentioned tight ends leaving LSU. Do Jack Beck transfer to TCU from LSU stick out in any way to you, or is he just trying to figure it out? I like Jack Beck. I like the kid at West Virginia. I like a number of kids. They've had at least 5 tight ends transfer in the last 2 years. I like them. Yeah, I'm cool with them. Shout out to him. Are you going to watch Rutgers at 6? Cope Digital, I'll be doing this show. I don't think we'll be done by 6, but I intend to watch Rutgers probably Sunday. Maybe tomorrow morning. Everything gets recorded. There's not a game that doesn't get recorded. Shout out to YouTube TV. Our lad's depth chart for Liberty isn't correct. We know. My little brother is starting at slot. He's a redshirt freshman. His name is Darius Copeland. Okay. You should check out his high school film. Why can't I just check out his Saturday film? Why don't I check him out on Saturday? Why don't I check him out when he plays? Shout out to you, Jaden Taylor. Thank you for being here. Tell your brother I said what's up. If he's a beast, I'll notice. Sneaking into those rooms, it really didn't matter. If it was Motel 6 or Holiday Inn, we get our money's worth every time. Shout out to you, Donnie. That happened. That was real life. Was Sam's claim correct or no? Bro, we don't care. Sam's claim was that I don't know anything. That was not correct. Kevin Fitz. Sam's claim can't possibly be correct. Georgia hired 2 NFL defensive coordinators when they won back-to-back national championships. Do you need help checking that? Oh my goodness, you guys, please don't come in here and try to debate me. It's not the place. You're here to get educated. You're here to learn about teams. The debate style of content is just played out. ESPN made it a thing. This entire generation thinks it's a thing. It's not a thing. You shouldn't get on shows and try to debate anyone. That doesn't show anything. You're not measuring dicks, bro. You're not impressing me. If you think I don't know anything or you think I'm wrong, just start your own show. Just go to your own platform and just start talking. And if you're right, people will listen. That's all I ever did. I never went to anybody else's platform, showed up and was like, you don't know anything. I'm RicoKnows. I know everything. Never did that once in my life. Ever. Just go to your channel. You go to your YouTube, go to your TikTok, go to whatever it is you do, and just hit play, hit record, and just start talking. And if anybody's rocking with you, and anybody listens to you and believes you, you'll be successful. It's that easy. But if you're talking to no one for a year straight, you probably aren't doing it right. You're probably not any good at it. I'm not worried about it. Rico kicking game to these youngsters. Word, Marco, that's what I'm doing. Will things get chippy in the Colorado NDSU game? I don't think so. There's nothing to get chippy about. It's not a rivalry game. Nothing to get chippy. Let's start talking about some of these games. You guys can keep adding questions, comments in the chat. We're going to get to these games. So, first game. It's not on the MVP list, so I will talk about it. Howard at Rutgers. I don't know how Howard scores. Rutgers has an amazing defense. I really believe in them. Howard plays a much lower level of football. When you look at the FCS as a whole, the FCS has 128 teams. Of all the MEAC and SWAC teams and maybe HBCUs, they're all in the lower 28. They're all in the lower quadrant of 128 FCS level teams, excuse me. So Howard really has no chance in this game. Rutgers should win. It's a really big number, 38.5. I wouldn't bet on it. I would just watch the game and try to learn about it. And the under being 50 sounds about right. I would probably be on the under on this game. Unless you think Rutgers is scoring all 50, because I don't know when Howard's scoring. So Rutgers, being a run-oriented team, Ethan Kaliak-Manis is not going to go out there and air it out like crazy. Even Kirk Soraka, the offensive coordinator, understands his bread and butter is go run the game. Go run. Keep it conservative. Keep everything off tape. And this is what a lot of these teams are going to do. If you look at Rutgers as a team, they're not going to put anything on tape for 2 weeks, because they don't want to give Virginia Tech anything, right? So they're going to go out there and just beat Howard and beat Akron without running any significant plays. So you can believe in the under in this game. It's not on my chart. It's not an MVP level play, but in my assessment, the under is real at 50 points. There's going to be a running clock They're going to run the ball a lot, and Howard's never going to score. So unless you think Rutgers is getting to 50 by themselves, that's where I'm at. Shout out to Demir Miller. I hope he does his damn thing. FCS transfer wide receiver. Next game, that's an MVP level game. I won't be talking about it. Next game, another MVP level game, but I do want to show you guys something. If you do this, right, if you go to Google, and this is what everybody does in the early part of the season, who was it? It's Wake Forest? Wake Forest versus North Carolina A&T prediction. Let's say you did this prediction thing, and you clicked it, and you go in here. This is what people do. They think they're smart, so they go and click on a website for a prediction, and they go Google it. And you click on it, and you go in here, and you're like, yeah. And then these guys run in the chat, and they start telling you, oh, the last 4 years, so-and-so did this, and so-and-so did it. And you're reading this. And when I read something like this, and I don't bother reading these things, by the way, because the guys who write these, whoever this is, I don't know who the author is, but whoever writes these on any website knows less about football than me. So I don't bother reading it. They know less about these teams than me, so I don't bother reading it. Like, this is ridiculous. Eli Brickhandler versus Mitch Griffiths is what they're trying to tell you. First and foremost, you don't compare quarterbacks to quarterbacks. It's quarterbacks versus a defense and another quarterback versus another defense. So that's number one. Number two, Eli Brickhandler is not even at North Carolina A&T anymore. He doesn't even play there anymore. He's at Houston Baptist Christian. He transferred. But this guy wrote a whole thing about it. Eli Brickhandler, da-da-da-da-da. Dude don't even play for the Aggies offense. What are they talking about? If the young gunslinger continues to grow and make the right plays under game situations, it would greatly enhance how the Aggies offense flows. What are you talking about? Absolute ignorance. This guy don't even go to the school anymore. Matter of fact, Houston Baptist Christian quarterback, Justin Fonboy, a professional style quarterback, an NFL style quarterback, a drop back quarterback, he's not even dual threat. He just transferred from Houston Baptist Christian to North Carolina A&T. The two teams swap quarterbacks. And they have another quarterback on the roster. And I don't want to go into the detail on this game because it's an MVP level game, but what I'm trying to show you guys is if you think Google has the right answers, they don't. Everything's just full of shit and wrong. Like, the SEC came out today and said they're going to have out injury reports, official injury reports will be posted by Wednesday of every week. That's just the SEC. I hope that happens for every conference, but when you have recruiting websites out there or gambling websites or any of these guys pretend like they know these teams, they don't know these teams. If they start talking about the spread, public money, they're not even talking about the teams. They're actually talking about betting trends, and then they're trying to tell you that we need to avoid the public money or something to that effect. Listen, guys, I have MVPs write me all the time, and they try to impart knowledge upon me about why I need to avoid this particular bet or this bet or this bet or this bet. Like, you guys are gamblers? Do you, bro? I don't give a shit about lean. Whenever somebody says this is this spread and this and that, like, I just don't. I zone out because I am analyzing teams. I'm analyzing players and talent. It's up to you. I don't analyze sports books. That's on you, bro. You're a gambler. I don't analyze sports. I don't give a shit what the sports book had on the spread. That's their business. They got some nerd over there crunching numbers. It's probably not even a person. It's a computer doing a bunch of statistical forecasting and all this crap. Home field advantage is worth 3 points. You've heard it. I don't care about any of that. That's for you. That's for you. I just analyze talent. I analyze players and matchups, and I ain't worried about the rest. Now, there are times I will tell you, hey, don't let this spread get beyond 9.5. Because if it gets to 10, now we got to rely on a field goal, and this team doesn't have a field goal kicker. That happens all the time. Be smart. Next game, New Hampshire, UCF. This is not an MVP level game. I'll just tell you that UCF is supposed to have a very explosive offense. Shout out to Xavier Townsend. There were no prop bets for this game posted, but the over-under 60.5. I really respect New Hampshire, and I think they can get to that 60. Minus 39 is a daunting number for UCF over New Hampshire. Minus 39 is pretty big, just so we're clear. ULM at Jackson State. ULM coaches reached out to me, told me they're going to surprise me, and they're going to look good this year. I believe in their running game. I really do. Jackson State, we'll see what happens. The spread is there. I would never bet on this game. I would just learn about it. Lafayette, Buffalo, MVP level play. Won't talk about it. Fordham at Bowling Green. I'm very big on Bowling Green. I think this is the year they're in the top 3 or 4 of the MAC. I really like some of their team and the way they're built. And if they can't beat Fordham by 16, it's going to be a long season. But I think they got a shot. I wouldn't bet on it. I would just watch it and try to learn about them. Shout out to Harold Fannin Jr., their star tight end. Best tight end in the MAC by far, according to me. And Terrion Stewart, their running back, is the real deal. Bowling Green's got some skill position players. They really do. They look good. And if Connor Bazelak can take that step forward and not throw so many interceptions, they'll be straight. Central Connecticut, I know nothing about them, and I feel terrible about that. But they're at Central Michigan. The line is huge. It's minus 32. So that's weird to me. Minus 32, minus 16. That's a daunting number. And then Bowling Green, that's an easier number. And I know Fordham's a much better player, a much better team than Central Connecticut. It's just, how does Central Michigan get there, bro? How do they get there? That's crazy. Good luck to them. Arkansas and Arkansas Pine Bluff, the spread's over 50. I just laugh. Learn a lot about both these teams. No need to bet it. Shout out to Arkansas. Toledo and Duquesne. Learn about these teams. We couldn't bet on Toledo last year. Maybe you can this year. I don't know. I don't like it. Just watch and learn. Should be okay. It should be okay. Toledo should cover. I wouldn't bet on it, but it should. Missouri. It's a lock. I won't talk about it. Kansas and Lindenwood. Kansas has a good team, man. They're going to put up some points. Offensive line's kind of suspect, but not against a team like Lindenwood. You won't notice against Lindenwood. Shout out to Kansas. Hope they go out there and do their thing. 62.5 seems like a crazy number to me. 62.5 on the over seems very ridiculous. Very. They're not gonna run it up like that. And how the hell Lindenwood's going to score? Kansas has real defense. Yeah, I like the under on that. I just saw that. That's nuts. North Carolina, Minnesota, it's on the chart. Won't talk about it. It's supposed to be a competitive game. Colorado, North Dakota State, won't talk about it. It's on the chart. Going to be a competitive game. Coastal Carolina, Jacksonville State, also on the chart. Won't talk about it. Hopefully it goes well. And then you have Alcorn State versus UAB. Last year, UAB opened the season against North Carolina A&T, blew them out, looked amazing, looked so much better. And I think that UAB is going to do something similar to Alcorn State. It's just these HBCUs can't play with a team like UAB. Even though they're group of 5, they got some really good players. Jacob Zeno at quarterback gives you a certain level of continuity and seniority. Second year with Trent Dilfer. I think Trent Dilfer is a quarterback whisperer. Nobody has to believe me, but I do think that. I also like Isaiah Jacobs, their running back. He's a complete monster, complete stud. Shout out to Josh Jacobs' little brother. They should be able to do whatever the hell they want. Tulane, starting a freshman quarterback. Let's see it. Let's see it. Let's see it. I mean, I'm curious. They have great wide receivers, by the way. Great wide receivers. Tulsa, starting Kirk Francis at quarterback. He won the quarterback battle. I'm excited for him. They should go out there and hurt the hell out of Northwestern State. Northwestern State, one of the worst teams in America. One of the very worst. Utah and Southern Utah. Utah's pretty classy, man. They try not to run up the score, but 40's pretty doable for them against Southern Utah. That should happen. Illinois against Eastern Illinois. 28.5 points. Feels right. Feels right. We'll see. And then the bottom one. MVP level game. I won't be talking about it. So those are all the games tonight. I went pretty quick. I'm not going to deep dive on a whole lot of teams unless it's, unless you're an MVP. If you're an MVP, you can watch the live stream. I go over all the prop bets, go over every bet you should make. I have 2 charts, one for spreads, one for prop bets. We talk about props, parlays, and everything else you should be doing. Shout out to you guys. I appreciate everybody for being here. With that being said, we got to get excited for the games. We don't want to be here all night, so I'm going to go to the chat one last time. If you got any questions, comments, concerns, put it in the chat. I'll answer it, and I'll get to it. TikTok, if you're watching, get over to YouTube. Drop it in the chat. We'll get what you. Just search RicoKnows. We'll be good. Oh, what did this guy say? This guy said the C word? Bro, you're gone. We'll never see you again. Congratulations. Now you'll never get to see football all season long. It's crazy. That's nuts. All right. Remember, guys, if you want to know what's going on, become an MVP. Go to Patreon. Go to YouTube. Join the channel. We have thousands of people who are MVPs. Please do yourself a favor. Become one. You'll learn about all the teams. You'll learn all the best bets. You'll win a lot of money. That's the reality of the situation. And MVPs are here. MVPs are everywhere. You can run into them, talk to them. If I was lying, they would tell you. There's nobody's lying here. Telling the truth, trying to make the best of the situation. It'll be a nice long season of winning. All right. Now, Let's go back to the chat one last time and knock it out. Shout out to you guys. If you had to pick one team to not score a point this weekend, which team do you think it could be? Ooh, Sultan of SWAT. For the whole weekend? For the whole weekend. If I had to pick a team that wouldn't score a single point this weekend, who would it be? I mean, there's Illinois State, Temple. Ooh, Indiana State's close. Illinois State, Temple. Ooh. So far. Illinois State, Temple. Ooh. Ooh. I got two. I got chills. They're multiplying. I'm looking. Ooh. Furman's going to score. Is Ole Miss going to let him score? Furman. BC scoring? Maybe. Ooh. Sam Houston. Sam Houston may not score. Idaho lost a ton of their talent. Idaho may not score. Ooh. That's 5. Southern Miss not scoring. There's 6. Grambling not scoring. There's 7. Ooh, is Charlotte going to score? Maybe. And I don't think New Mexico scores against Arizona. So there's 8. I got 8 shutouts, bruh. I got 8 shutouts. Great question. Shout out to you for challenging me there. Great question, Sultan of SWAT. I appreciate you, man. A little scary there. Howard only lost 23-20 to Northwestern last year, and Taim Powell was just confirmed out. Congratulations. What up, Rico? What up, Gary Clark? What up? Since UCF has Penny Boone, do you think they're still have KJ running the ball like he did at Arkansas? Just pick his and choose his spots. Oh, yeah. So it doesn't matter who they have at running back. The offensive scheme that they run utilizes their quarterback's legs. So they're calling quarterback-oriented runs. No matter how many running backs you have, if your scheme is a running quarterback, that's what you do. It doesn't matter. You can have 3 running backs. There's only one ball. And the ball's going to go to the quarterback to run. So he'll still run. Yeah, and he'll be good. UNC, Minnesota rundown. Short preview. I'm a UNC fan, and I still feel lost about what we got going on. Grayson Holland, become an MVP. I don't talk about MVP level games. It's a reality situation. There'll be certain games I just don't cover because that's MVP level data. We talk about it with the MVPs, and we're done. That's the rundown. I watch college football for the cheerleaders, just saying. Shout out to you, Michael. That's a pretty lame way to go, bro. What up, Rico? What up, Tom Rose? We love the Mac. Where's it at? We love the Mac attack. Slim Delacreme is back. Word. I appreciate you, man. Thank you for being an MVP. Darius Copeland, freshman, all-conference wide receiver for Liberty. Mark my words. Yeah, you're not biased or anything. You're not biased. Mark my words. My little brother is going to be all-conference. Mark my words. Dude, relax. We got you, Jaden Taylor. We got you. Keep killing it. I'll get at you later. Shout out to you, E-Money. You keep doing the same damn thing. I appreciate you. I can't bet on Sam Houston. I've been hurt too many times before. Sultan SWAT's an MVP. He'll let you know. Sam Houston's just a pain in the ass. We hate Sam Houston. We don't know what we're going to get every week with them. They're annoying. Shout out to Slim Delacreme. He's also saying it's Sam Houston flashbacks from last season. They'll hurt your feelings, bro. Inconsistency. It's tough. RicoKnows. Hope you are well. I am well, Cole. I hope you are well as well. I am as well as can be. What game are you going to be watching live tonight? So, Touchable Otter at 6. I'll be watching Rutgers in about 4 or 5 minutes. I'll be watching another game for an hour, and then I'll be watching Colorado, North Dakota State on live stream. You will not be able to see it. All you'll see is box scores on the screen, but you'll have me here commentating. It'll be similar to this right here. What's the biggest top 25 upset? Become an MVP, you'll know. That's all there is to it. There is no, you don't get any freebies up in here, bro. That doesn't happen. Upsets are sold to MVPs and MVPs only. These live streams are the best thing of college football year. Thank you, Alex Oller. I appreciate you. I love my job. Yo, Oregon is plus 100 on DraftKings. I don't know what that means. Congratulations. Don't know what that means. Thank you guys for being here. Sorry for making the show so short tonight. We got games to watch. They start now. They tell me the first game is at 6. When's the first game? Let's go back up. Thursday. 6 o'clock, Big Ten Network. Do I give the Big Ten Network? I probably do. I don't know. Got to double check. We'll make it work. We'll find it. I'm gonna start a live stream here shortly. Peace, y'all. Love everybody. Thank you for being an MVP. You guys make my life possible.